Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today I bring you this date night look right here. Now that everything seems to be getting back to normal, I cannot wait to have more date nights with my husband. But it really got me thinking that I haven't really done my makeup for a date night in over 2 years. So today I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk you through exactly how to recreate this very sultry, somewhat smoky look. I really love the way that it turned out. Now, before we get started, I'd like to thank Beauty Pie, who's sponsoring a portion of today's video. Now, I'm sure some of you know what Beauty Pie is because I have talked about them in the past. I have worked with them in the past, but just in case this is new to you and you don't know what I'm talking about, let me fill you in. Beauty Pie is a membership club in which you pay $59 a year in order to get access to luxury beauty products at up to 75% off. They carry everything that you can think of: makeup, hair care, skincare, home scents, scented candles, like so many different things. Personally, I absolutely love their color corrector. It's one of my most favorite color correctors of all time, along with their concealer. You're going to see those two things in action today. But not only do I really enjoy their makeup, but I've also really been enjoying their home scents, their candles, and their body scrubs, like skincare. I just recently purchased a dry oil sugar scrub from them, and it is like amazing. My hands are always dry. I wash them all the time. And so I needed something to get rid of like the dead skin that was just kind of hanging out on my hands. Once I went in with that dry scrub, I was like, oh my gosh, magic, because it does have oil in it. It not only exfoliates the dead skin away, but then it leaves you with a very nice hydrated skin barrier. I did the same thing on my feet. I did the same thing on my legs. I am hooked on that. I've also really been liking their hand cream. This one here is the Fantastic Nourishing Shea Butter Hand Cream. I have one of these in pretty much every single room of the house because my hands are always dry. Everything that I've ordered and everything that they've been kind enough to send over my way, I've tried, I love, which is why I keep mentioning them here on my channel. I'll leave their direct link down in the description box below, as well as a code to help you save even more money on a yearly membership. So now that I've covered that, let's get right into the look. So we're starting off with a NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen. This one's in the shade Espresso. And I'm just going to use this to create hair-like strokes along the more sparse areas along the brow. It does take a little bit of a steady hand and you have to get used to it, but I always just rest my pinky on my cheek, and that seems to really help. Now I'm going to take my micro brow pencil from NYX. This one is in the shade Brunette, and taking the spoolie end along the brow. So I'm just kind of brushing through the brow to soften up the look of that brow pen. And then I'm going to go in and just bring a little bit of the intensity back with the pencil. The brows are done. Let's continue with the eyes. I'm grabbing my Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I have been favoring this one actually on the lids. I know that they have other shades also. As soon as I run out of this one, I am going to definitely be purchasing the ones with the tint. This one works really good, but it doesn't have any pigment. So you're still going to be able to see all of the natural pigment coming through on the lids, but since I am planning on using deeper shades, I'm not too concerned about it. For the eyes, I'm thinking smoky, but not black. So I'm going to take my Patrick Ta, the Major Dimension eyeshadow palette. This is the first one. He has two. This one's the Major Dimension palette 2. It's a lot more rosy, and that one would be really, really nice for Valentine's Day or a look like that. And this is the original one. I love these cream eyeshadows. They are the perfect base for starting any kind of an eye look. They blend out so easily. I'm going to be working with the deeper of the two cream eyeshadows here. So I'm taking my E55 eyeshadow brush from Sigma Beauty, dipping it into the cream eyeshadow. So I'm taking this eyeshadow and just applying it all on the mobile lid area of the eye. So I'm running this from the inner corner all the way across to the outer corner, and then I'm bringing it up to the crease, like right before the crease. You see where my eye just naturally creases? That's where I'm going to stop. Next, with my diffused crease brush, this one's the E38 from Sigma Beauty, without adding anything on to the brush, I'm going to use that to blend out the edges. These cream eyeshadows are so easy to blend. Look at that. All you have to do is just blend away the line and you're left with an instant eye look. It's so easy. These are so easy to work with. All right, so now that that is blended out, I'm gonna go back into the palette. I'm gonna take my E25 blending brush from Sigma Beauty. This is the shade Scandal, so just packing my brush with that and then just patting it on to the outer corner here. This is gonna deepen the look along the outer corner. It's gonna make it look a little bit more smoky, but without looking like too much. And also, a little bit at a time. That's the trick when it comes to doing any kind of a smoky look. You don't want to go in with way too much all at once because you can overwhelm yourself and your eyelid with a lot of pigment, and then it's kind of hard to come back from that. I've done that myself plenty of times, and I end up just washing it off and redoing it. And then grabbing a little bit more and just bringing it all the way in to the inner corner. And of course, I stop right along the crease. All right, so now that we have that down, we are going to take a combination of this eyeshadow right here, this very nice light, like orangey brown, and just a tiny bit of your deepest shade. Tap it, and I'm gonna start here along the outer V. I'm mostly on the deeper color or the deeper shade, and then I kind of buff it upward to the line. And I'm just trying to blend out that harsh line that the deeper eyeshadow left behind, which is why I'm combining a lighter eyeshadow with the original deeper shadow that we already have on the eye. I'm being very gentle along the crease. This will allow us to blend it out seamlessly. Going in with a lighter hand, for me, is key when blending. All right, and the last thing that I'm gonna do is just a pop right along the center. So I'm gonna take my Wonder Color shadow from Beauty Pie. This one is in the shade Beige Bombshell. These are so creamy, so smooth. Kind of reminds me of the Patrick Ta, like the cream eyeshadow that I placed along the base. This is what this shade looks like right here. So pretty, but still very subtle. Like, not that subtle, but subtle, and that's why I'm gonna use it along the center of the mobile lid area. So I'm just gonna glide this along the center. You see how creamy this is? And then I'm gonna take my finger and then just blend out the edges. And there it is. I'm barely applying any pressure, and this cream eyeshadow is just doing all the work for me. It's blending itself out practically. So before finishing off the eyes, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of the base, since all we have left on the eyes is just like underneath, and that should be fine, and that usually comes after concealer. So we're gonna start off with this Yummy Skin Serum. This is the Danessa Myricks Glow Serum. I love this stuff. It makes your skin look so radiant and so healthy. I love this underneath matte foundations. I love it on its own, especially on its own. It looks so beautiful. It kind of has a little bit of a tint to it, and look what it looks like on the skin. You see that? Instantly hydrated, instantly dewy, radiant, glowy, and healthy. It doesn't look slippery or slick or like oily, you know? It's dewy, it's hydrated, and it smells delicious. So I'm just taking a little bit of this and applying it all over the face before moving on to color correcting and foundation. So now let's go ahead and color correct. I'm gonna be taking my Beauty Pie Super Luminous Under Eye Genius Corrector. This is in the shade Medium Deep. Looks like this. One of my all-time favorite color correctors. All-time favorite. So just taking a little bit of that with my ring finger and just patting it very lightly underneath the eye. I try to concentrate most of the product here along the inner corner, since that's typically the darkest area underneath the eye. Now for foundation, I'm going to be using my Beauty Pie Everyday Great Skin Foundation. This is a medium to full coverage foundation, so you can definitely build it up. I use this shade 250, which is Weedy. It has a natural matte finish, which is why I love to pair it with more radiant or like dewy primers, because it's like getting the best of both worlds. My matte finish foundations don't look overly matte because of the primer, and I get to wear a matte foundation that's not going to glide around or slide around the face all day. So I'm taking a little bit of the foundation with my multitasker brush from Sigma Beauty. This is the F47, and I'm gonna go for medium coverage today. So you see that? Just gives such beautiful, even coverage, and it lasts all day. Now for concealer, we're using the Everyday Great Skin Concealer from Beauty Pie. I like to use two different shades. I have the shade 400, which is Buff, and the shade Honey, which is 600. Honey has this really beautiful peachy undertone, but it's just a tad bit too deep. So when I pair it with something a little bit lighter, like 400 Buff, it not only conceals, but it also helps to color correct a little bit more as well. And that is a good trick if you can't find a color corrector that you love or something that works for you. If you have a concealer formula that you love and that works for you, try to find in that same formula, try to find a shade that has a peach undertone. Something a little bit deeper that has a peachy undertone is going to work great as a color corrector. It doesn't necessarily have to be a color corrector. So I'm going in with Honey first. And I just use very little of Honey. I don't overdo it. And I place Honey along the deeper areas underneath the eye. And then I go in with Buff. And this I use here along the inner corner to kind of brighten that area up a little bit. And back here as well. And I do love to use the eyeshadow blending brush with the concealer, with this particular concealer. It's so highly pigmented. It doesn't need to be like pressed into the skin or anything like that. You just kind of glide it around and it does the work for you. You don't need a lot because it is so pigmented. And in order to not pick up a ton of the product and then need more, I go in with something very soft, very light. And this is just going to blend out the product without picking up too much. All right, there we have it. Next, I'm going to set this concealer in place. It doesn't necessarily need to be set because it is a little bit more of a matte formula. It has a soft matte finish. But personally, I always set it with my Oma Beauty Trip-In Smooth Powder, or I've been setting it with this one in particular. I'm in love with this powder. I really am. It is such a good setting powder for the under eye area. It's so finely milled. It just completely sets the under eye area and it leaves it looking so beautiful and smooth. So just taking a small amount on my Soft Blend number 50 brush from Sigma. And this is what I'm going to use to set. Just patting it onto the under eye area, not dragging it back and forth. All right, there's that. Let's go back to the eyes and finish those off now that the under eye area is set and taken care of. So for this particular look, since I do want it to look a little bit more smoky, I'm going in with a black eyeliner pencil. This one is from Juvia's Place. It is their Nubian eyeliner in the shade Kajal, which is black. So I'm going to be tight lining with this, and I'm also going to be running this along my waterline. I know black is a little bit intense, but I'm not going to go too crazy with it along the waterline. I do need this to tight line, so we're going to go ahead and take care of that. And I'm going to try my best not to get my contacts, because that is very annoying. It makes a subtle difference when it comes to your lash line. This lash line looks a little bit thicker now that I've tight lined it than this one does. Now along the bottom, I'm not going in too far. I'm just going to take it from the outer corner in about 2/3 of the way in. With a pencil brush, I'm going to go back into the palette. This one is the E30 from Sigma Beauty. I'm going to grab a little bit of our deepest shade and a little bit of that lighter shade that we used along the crease. So I'm kind of mixing the two. And this is what I'm using underneath the eyes to blend it all out. So I try to stick to the lash line, and then once I've patted the product onto the eye, that's when I go back and forth to blend. I always make sure that I pat the product where I need it and where I want it, rather than going in and start to blend right away, because the product can end up all over the place. You have no control over it at that point. But if you pat it onto the eye first and then you go back and blend it, you'll keep it where you need it. All right, lashes. I'd forgotten how much I love this Tarte mascara. This is the Lights Camera Lashes mascara. It is so good. I've been trying to get more use out of all of my mascaras, not just like my top 3 that I keep in my drawer, because I do have quite a few and I don't want the ones that I've kept to be neglected and then to go to waste. So I've been trying to reach for other mascaras, ones that I kind of forgotten about, and this is definitely one that I had forgotten about. It is such a good formula. It gives you these very, very nice, full, wispy lashes, but they don't clump up. They don't look like spider legs. Everything is really nice and fluffy. I really like this formula. Next, let's go ahead and warm up the face and also contour a little bit. For that, I'm going to use 2 different products. The first one is the Patrick Ta Cream Contour. I'm going to grab some of the cream contour with my tapered kabuki brush from Sigma Beauty. This is the F86. And I'm going to place it right above where I feel it should go. I've been placing it a little bit further up just to create that lifting effect. There for a while, I was just doing it along the hollow, but I felt like it dragged my face down because the hollow is just like naturally it's right here. And so the contour would end up like down here as well. You don't want that. You want to, lift. That's what it's for. So I'm just going to apply it here right above where the hollow is. So for me, hollow's right here. It's going right above it. And yes, it looks overly done and it looks very harsh, but we're gonna blend it out, don't worry. So I just cleaned off the brush a little tiny bit so that I'm not adding more product onto the face. I'm simply just blending out what I already have. And you see that? Bam, presto. Now for bronzer, I'm using my Beauty Pie Awesome Bronze Powder Bronzer. This one is in the shade Soleil All Day. I love the fact that you can take it out, they're refillable, compact, and take it with you. I love this mirror. I love this little compact. It's not only really nice and pretty, but it's the perfect size for you to take on the go. So I'm going to take a little bit of this with my Sigma All Over Powder Brush. This one is the F24, and this is going to go right here, overlapping with what I already placed on the cheek with the cream contour shade. And this is going to serve as my bronzer and my blush. So I'm keeping it back here and I don't want to bring it too far in to the apples of the cheek. Just want to add some warmth here. A little bit more here, just kind of like where you naturally would get sun. Now the last thing that I'm going to do on the face before the lips and then we're done is apply this onto the cheekbone. This stuff is amazing, okay? This is the Pure Nude Highlighter from Essence. This one is in the shade Be My Highlight. Oh my goodness, is this good. And it's so minimal, but yet so noticeable. Like not minimal, but no, you'll see. So this is my cheek without it. I'm just gonna take the same brush that I used for the bronzer. I'm gonna dip it into this powder and look. It's definitely a highlighter, but it's not a highlighter that's gonna overwhelm the face and just look glittery. It just adds that little extra something if you need it or if you want it. I've been applying it kind of like all over where the sun will hit my face, and it gives you such a beautiful but minimal glow. Now the last thing, the lips. We are going to be using a lip liner and a lipstick. This, I feel, is one of my all-time favorite lipsticks. This one's from Oma Beauty. It is in the shade Eartha. This is like their matte lipstick. It takes me a while to find a nice nude lipstick, but when I do, I make sure I hold on to it. So I'm going to be using this with this lip liner. This one is from LA Girl. This one is the Shockwave Nude Lip Liner in the shade Sandstorm. Has been my absolute go-to for a while as well. So I'm just going to line my lips first and then go in with the matte lipstick. And the last thing that I'm going to do, because it is a date night look and I want it to last and I want it to look amazing all evening, I'm going to spray my face with a little bit of Stay Spray from Tarte. And we're done. So that completes the look. What do you guys think? Personally, I'm in love. I love the eyes. I love the halo, the way that that turned out. I love everything about this look. The eyes are very, very nice and bold, but not too bold. And the lips are very nice and nude and very, very neutral. Just like, I love it. I cannot wait to wear this out on my next date night with my husband. I really, really like it. Really like it. Thanks again to Beauty Pie for sponsoring a portion of today's video. Don't forget to check them out. I will leave the link down in the description box below, as well as this code right here. All Beauty Sent Me will get you $10 off of your purchase, so make sure you use it. Make sure you check them out. As always, take care, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel before you leave so that you don't miss out on future videos. And also, don't forget to follow me over on Instagram, where I absolutely love to interact with you guys. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah! Bye.